My mother's finger was pointed straight at me across the dinner table. "You're the only one with a great profession," she stated. "You should pay for your sister Emily's college." My father nodded without hesitation. "It's the least you can do after everything we've done for you." And then my sister, my sweet, spoiled sister Emily, smirked. "Yes," she agreed, twirling her fork. "You are indebted to us." The word indebted hit me like a slap. I stared at them, their familiar faces full of expectation, entitlement, and avarice disguised as family. I placed my glass down slowly and smiled. "That's ironic," I said, "because I just paid off your entire home loan and was planning to surprise you all tonight." The room completely froze. Then I leaned forward, my voice calm and deliberate. "But since we're being honest, perhaps, I should tell you what I'm doing with the house next. They used to make me believe affection was conditional, earned through compliance, silence, and sacrifice. When I got my first paycheck, my mother said, 'You're so fortunate to have us guide you.' When I was promoted, my father said, 'Don't forget who raised you.' And when I purchased my first vehicle, my sister Emily said, 'Guess who watched? You and Mom couldn't?' Every milestone I achieved somehow became theirs. I was never truly independent, just perpetually indebted. And I believed their narrative for years. I covered expenses I didn't owe. I settled debts they created, all because I craved tranquility, because I was conditioned to think peace came from yielding. But peace founded on guilt never endures. The breaking point arrived silently. 2 years ago, my father called me in a panic. The financial institution was about to seize the residence. My mother wept over the telephone, saying they had nowhere else to reside. I transferred the funds that evening without any query. I paid off the home loan in full. But 2 months later, I discovered what they had omitted to tell me. They hadn't just failed to make payments on the house. They'd refinanced it twice, each time using my personal details as the guarantor. My credit rating was entangled with their falsehoods, my financial history buried beneath their betrayal of trust. I confronted them, expecting remorse. They simply laughed. My mother said, "You'll earn it back." "You always do," my father said. "It's a family matter." And my sister, Emily, she said, "Relax, you're not going to let your parents suffer." That was the night something fundamentally shifted inside me. I didn't yell or threaten. I just smiled and began making arrangements. I knew the house was still in their names, but because I had paid the full remaining balance and possessed every receipt, I had considerable leverage, quiet legal leverage. So I called an attorney, had every transfer tracked, every document authenticated, every digital record preserved. And then I purchased the residence not directly from them, but from the bank itself. Legally, they still dwelled there, but ownership, that was strictly mine, and they had no idea. I waited 3 months, paid the property taxes, fixed the roof, replaced the door locks. Every step I took was systematic, controlled, practically surgical. And then I waited for the perfect moment. Tonight, the residence smelled of my mother's cooked meat and inexpensive perfume. My sister Emily was boasting about her new boyfriend. My father was talking about purchasing a new vehicle. With whose finances? Mine, most likely. When the conversation turned toward me, when they demanded more, as they invariably did, I decided it was time. "I actually have excellent news," I said, smiling. "The house, your house, is fully paid for." They cheered, toasted, and embraced me, and then I delivered the final blow. "I bought it." My mother's smile wavered. "What?" "I bought it," I reiterated. "The home loan, the deed, everything. The house is registered under my name now." My father's voice became harsh. "You cannot do that." "I already have." Silence. Only the ticking of the dining room clock filled the atmosphere. "You would throw your family out?" my sister Emily snapped. I looked at her, calm as ever. "No," I replied. "I'm granting you 30 days. You will vacate the premises on your own." My mother started to weep. My father cursed. My sister stormed out, but I stayed seated because for the first time, I wasn't the one escaping their turmoil. I'd provided them comfort for years. Now I was providing them with consequences. It wasn't vengeance in the typical sense. I wasn't destroying ties. I was simply closing them. For years, they had taken my achievements and labeled them a debt. Now I was reclaiming what I had built and labeling it freedom. When I departed that night, the house in Chicago looked smaller than I remembered, perhaps because it was finally not my burden to carry anymore. I walked to my vehicle and glanced back at the lights flickering inside. They still assumed I would submit. They always did. But this time I wasn't returning. I had already listed the property for sale. and the purchaser, a quiet, retired couple, would move in next month. As for me, I'd secured a new residence, a fresh start. No ghosts, no guilt, no owing anyone. My family had always maintained I owed them everything. But that evening as I drove away, I grasped the truth. They were correct. I did owe them something. The crucial lesson of never permitting them to exploit me again.